What's happening, everybody? I'm Steve, and welcome back to Junkdrummer TV, where I give my initial reactions, my hot takes, and my analysis on the drummers of today and yesterday, and maybe tomorrow if I stick around that long. I am a professional drum teacher and a gigging musician, and I have been for the last 20 years. In an ongoing effort to keep a variety of drummers an important aspect of this channel, we're going to be doing a little jazz music today. We've been doing a lot of rock and heavy metal, so it's about time to get back to some jazz, and we're going to be watching some Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. I've already done 2 jazz drummers on the channel. I've done Tony Williams and Buddy Rich. Please go check that out. If you watch the Tony Williams episode, I give a whole long story time about my journey to jazz music, being a jazz fan, being a junior varsity jazz player, and all that's right there. So as I stated on that channel, Tony Williams was really the gateway drug into jazz music for me. And from Tony, you know, I found Max Roach, and I found Elvin Jones, and I also found Art Blakey. Art Blakey's one of my favorite jazz drummers. He doesn't play like a sterile college jazz musician. He plays like the exact opposite of that. He plays with so much power and fierceness, and he plays like his hair's on fire, and that's what I love the most about Art Blakey. Another thing that I like about Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, you know, that was a bop group, and that was, you know, bop was a big change from big band music, where they got away from so much arrangement and, you know, being handcuffed to the arrangement. But what Art Blakey did that I think he did that made him a little bit more different from other small ensembles was, even when they were playing, you know, I think this has 2 horn players, they played almost like big band arrangements in a small group ensemble, and they gave him the chance to play through and around those arrangements. One of the things I like the most about Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. So before I get into this, please everyone like, share, and comment, and give me a double tap on the subscription and the notification bell, and let's get into it. Maracas. So man, right off the bat, man, those Gretsch round badge drums that everybody played back then. There it is, man. There's the Bonham lick. If you think Bonham was the guy who came up with that, he wasn't. Those jazz guys were playing that rolling triplet fill way before he got to it. I've got like a 64 round badge snare drum, and it's my all-time favorite snare drum. There's just something special about the sound of those drums. You know, you'll see that these drums are tuned a little higher pitched, well, a lot more higher pitched than you're used to hearing. That was to work towards getting more articulation because they played so fast, and also because they weren't mic'd, and that stuff cut better. You know, his drums aren't mic'd right now. So everybody has a percussion instrument except the bass player. That's cool. I saw the Roots do this. The Roots came on stage, everyone had a percussion instrument. They did this big jam before they broke into the first song. That ride cymbal pattern is almost like the 4/4 version of a Love Supreme. Well, of course, Love Supreme's in 6/8, I think. But that ride cymbal pattern is very much like that. It's great to watch the tradition of jazz drummers. You know, when you watch Tony, you know that Tony has a lot of Art Blakey in him. He has a lot of Max Roach too. You know, if I didn't say it before, this is the night in Tunisia. If you've been to music school and you're in the jazz band, you've played this song. Right there, you know, that there's more composition in the Jazz Messengers than your standard small bop group at that time. There's the C section. A lot of people play this almost like halftime. Not right here. There's that buzz roll, man. The Art Blakey buzz roll. You could put the Empire State Building on top of that buzz roll. Art Blakey just always looked like he was having so much fun. He's infectious. I love him. He ended up being kind of a mentor to Cindy Blackman at the beginning of her career. I think she may have lived with him. So even like right there during the arrangements, him and the keyboard player have some things worked up. That or whatever that was. I'm gonna bring that back a little bit. It's one of the reasons I like the Jazz Messengers so much. Was it wasn't just, you know, here's a head and here's the choruses. There was still a lot of composition going on in their playing. Check this out. Like right there. That's cool. So right there, even though Art Blakey is playing a supportive role, he's still playing with the soloist. He's still playing off with the piano player. That's cool. That's hip, man. That's hip. Man, you gotta have such good chops to play this stuff. You have to have such good four-way coordination. It really is an elevated art form. I try to get my kids to at least learn some jazz music. Ugh, that is a honky crowd. Guys, how are you not into this? This crowd is blech. How are you not just loving this, man? Just sitting there, man. I think that's Lee Morgan on trumpet. Don't quote me on that. It's right around the time when Miles Davis was taking over trumpet, and everybody tried to sound like Miles. Although he's playing a lot higher than Miles usually would play. Yeah, so that down thing that he's got worked out with the piano player right there, man, that's cool. That's hip. So you can do your improvs and your comping behind the soloist, but then you always have that to come back to. It gives the arrangement more like fabric. Go ahead. Man, just watching this is, man, if jazz music was still like this, I think jazz music would still be viable. Let's be honest, man. Jazz music isn't viable anymore. And I think it's because of colleges, it's music schools. They've codified the language. They've codified the style. Once you codify an art, that art is only that code. That kind of came from the Frank Zappa book. Man, most jazz groups, when you go see them play, you can tell that they're all, you know, well-taught, trained jazz players. And I sometimes, and this is going to get me killed in the comments section, but a lot of like modern jazz groups, not the Bad Plus, not Medeski, Martin and Wood, not the Dave Holland Big Band, but a lot, kind of feel like Civil War reenactors to me. They're reenacting a style, and they're not taking that style and moving it ahead. And sometimes when they try to do that, like the Bad Plus, you know, the great keepers of the jazz, looking at you, Wynton Marsalis, kind of trash them for making it not sound like it did 50, 60 years ago. This is what jazz music should sound like. When I go see a lot of like modern jazz groups, it really does feel like an adult college recital. This feels like artists on stage exploring their art and their instruments. That's what jazz music should be. Yeah, buddy. I love him. I love jazz drummers that play like it's all about to fall apart. You just go for it. You just go for it. Sometimes it hits. Most of the time it does. Yeah, man, that guy's not saying like, well, I hope my music professor appreciates what I'm playing right here. Man, fuck that. He's like, this is what I want to sound like. You don't become great trying to be like someone else. Everybody's back to their percussion instruments. He's almost got that Keith Jarrett thing where he's like humming his licks. Notice right there, that's some sort of like a preset arrangement little thing that he did there. That almost seems like that's a cue for the percussion to drop out, so now he can really get his on the drum solo. I've said this before, I like jazz soloists, drum set solos in jazz the most. Crossovers. If there's any tenor players out there, you'll appreciate that. Man, that crowd sucked, man. How can that crowd just kind of sit there and look like they're at a conference for accountants when this shit's going on stage? So back to the beginning. Well, almost. The extreme dynamic shaping of jazz drumming. Playing on the side of the floor tom, almost like a djembe. And again, this is the beginning, this song, and then, I know Dizzy Gillespie, I think that Dizzy Gillespie did this first. Don't quote me on that because I am not a jazz historian at all. But this was the beginning of that marriage of Afro-Cuban, or what people would just call Latin music, and jazz music. And if you know anything about those two, it just made complete sense that those two styles would merge. And that's what you're hearing right here. This isn't just a traditional ding-ding-a-ding-ding-a-ding jazz song. This is something that's influenced by world music, and that's beautiful. Man, when somebody like him is playing, I shouldn't even be holding drumsticks. Any of you jazz bebop scholars that's in college right now, do not play this for your senior recital. It is played out, and it's already been done greater than you ever will. Write a new song, man. Write a new song for your college recital. That's what we need in jazz music. We need new songs. There it is, man. Yes. I love the bending of the snare drum to get pitches. Yeah, man, look at that face. Does this guy look like he's not making art? A credenza from the saxophone. It's beautiful. I know the drums are done, but I've got to watch this. Okay, I'm going to lose my listeners if I keep that going. So, Art Blakey and the Jazz Mesengers playing A Night in Tunisia. I cannot stress enough how much college music education is destroying the jazz scene, because you've just got kids who a lot of times didn't even really listen to jazz until you got to college, like me, and they're just reenacting what they've heard before. And every saxophone player walking around the department wants to be John Coltrane, and every saxophone player wants to be Charlie Parker. Man, if you take anything from this video, don't be Charlie Parker. Learn Charlie Parker. Learn John Coltrane. Learn Miles Davis. Learn all of that. But come and find your own voice, because that's what this is about. Art Blakey has his own voice. When he plays, you know that it's Art Blakey. Don't be a Civil War reenactor, all you college music school kids. Take the form and take it somewhere. I can't stress it enough. The Bad Plus, in my opinion, is one of the few jazz groups that are vital, that are still making something that's new. And, you know, I'm going to have to do a Bad Plus video with Dave King. He's one of my favorite drummers. Man, dude, they take arrangements of popular songs and make jazz songs out of it. That's part of the tradition. Someday My Prince Will Come is not a jazz tune. That's from Snow White or Cinderella, one of those two. That's a big thing that jazz did. The biggest thing I hope that I can get out of this video is to first turn on people who aren't into jazz, to turn them into, you know, turn them on to jazz music, and to please influence you guys that are out there that are studying to be jazz musicians. Don't reenact, be yourself. So again, if you liked all of that, please give me a like, share, and comment, and give me a double tap on the subscription and the notification bell. And remember, if you want to really be your own person and your own true artist, you got to keep practicing until it's easy.